All right, welcome to Speak for Yourself. I'm Jason Whitlock. Coming up, I'll tell you if Terry Bradshaw's latest criticism of Mike Tomlin is on the money. But we begin today with the fallout from Nike's controversial promotional campaign featuring Colin Kaepernick. As expected, President Trump weighed in on Nike's decision, saying, "I think it's a terrible message they're sending, and the purpose of them doing it, maybe there's a reason for them doing it, but I think as far as sending a message, I think it's a terrible message and a message that shouldn't be sent. There's no reason for it." Not surprisingly, NBA superstar and Nike pitchman LeBron James defended the brand.
I stand for anybody that believes in change. I stand for anybody that believes in a positive attitude, in a positive manner. And I believe and I stand with Nike every day, all day. Love y'all.
The National Association of Police Organizations has called for a boycott of all Nike products. Everybody is picking a side on Colin Kaepernick. He is more controversial and polarizing today as a shadowy, non-speaking ghost than he was in a San Francisco 49ers uniform kneeling during the playing of our national anthem. If possible, I want to have a different discussion today. I don't want to debate Kaepernick or his stance. I'd like to discuss Nike's slogan, which I believe is more reprehensible and destructive than Kaepernick taking a knee during the anthem. Believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything. That's the slogan that accompanies the close-up picture of Kaepernick's face. Believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything, just do it. Is this the advice you would give your children? I'm talking to you, Mom and Dad America. Yes, you. Every parent who can hear my voice right now. Is this the advice you would give your kids? Nike spokesman Gino Fizzonati stated that the new ad campaign is specifically targeted at 15 to 17-year-olds. Believe in something translates to believe in anything. You decide and be willing to sacrifice everything. It used to be the responsibility of parents and elders to pass along and instill morals, ethics, and beliefs in young people. Now we just let kids figure it out on their own with the help of the internet, social media, and multi-billion-dollar corporations built on the backs of Asian slave labor. I believe this Nike campaign is also specifically targeted at black kids. That's why Kaepernick, Serena Williams, Odell Beckham Jr., LeBron James, and Shaquem Griffin will also be featured. All right, I'm joined now by three former NFL stars, Hall of Famer Eric Dickerson, former Pro Bowlers Greg Jennings and Brian Cox. All right, I just want to start with this simple question. Believe in something, sacrifice everything. Is that the advice you would give your kids?
Yes, absolutely. I stand with Nike on this decision. For me, it's as a little kid, I was always taught stand for something or fall for anything. This is equivalent to that. So to me, I think that when you talk about, if you look at this thing, you take a global brand like Nike, and they put such a controversial figure up, and it's gonna make you lean one way or the other, and there's no straddling the fence on this. To me, I think it's a great deal to have him on because, again, I see the guy as 50 years from now being a Muhammad Ali type figure.
Believe in something and be willing to sacrifice everything for it. You would give that advice to your kids?
I wouldn't put it in those words if I were to share that with my kids, but absolutely, I agree with this. And when you think about why Nike did this, obviously it was okayed by Colin Kaepernick because of what they believe and he believes was taken away from him.
So why not say believe in equality, believe in justice? Why can't we define it?
Because they clearly wanted to be controversial, to your point, Brian. Like, they wanted people to know Nike's slogan is just do it. They just did it. They literally defined with action their slogan, and they put it into play with this marquee decision to make Colin Kaepernick face and this brand and this still big. That was their whole psyche behind it. So I'm with them. I think that it was greater than just Colin Kaepernick. It's about kids and us as a people really believing in something. It doesn't mean you're going to sacrifice everything every time, but you're going to have to give something up. There's going to be a consequence for whether it's good, bad, or indifferent for a decision that you choose to make.
Kids believe in a lot of dumb things.
Well,
I'll
say this is that I respect the flag. I think all of us respect the flag, but I love God. And I feel like that, would you make that people have made that sacrifice by losing their life because I love God, and that's a sacrifice that if you willing to make it, that is a true sacrifice.
Right.
And I really believe that in this case, he has sacrificed his career by the stance that he's taken. I do like what Nike's doing. They're standing with him. You may say that LeBron James is the pitch man, but the NFL is the pitch man too, because they're taking Nike's money. If you don't like it, give all the money back. Give the money back that you took years ago, because that shows that I'm taking sides, but I'm taking sides with the dollar. And I really believe that this is the right thing to do in having Colin Kaepernick being the face of this slogan for 30 years.
Eric, you went to really my main point that I was a little bit afraid to go there, but since you already went there.
There we go.
Again, when you start to believe God and standing on principles that are God-based, I get. That's not what I'm seeing promoted here by Nike, and that's what concerns me, and that's what concerns me about young people, especially our young people. It's like, no, go make it up on your own. Go figure it out on the internet. Go figure it out with your video games. Let Nike tell you what to believe in, and let anybody tell you what to believe in. We don't want the responsibility of defining for you and instilling the morals and ethics and character and the things that we were taught to believe in by our elders. We've just sacrificed it all for the young people, and let Nike, social media, Twitter, let them all give you your beliefs. And that's why I think we have so much chaos with young people across the board, not just black people, just across the board. Everybody's being left to figure it out on their own and just do it. Feels good, just do it. This to me is more problematic than Kaepernick taking a knee during the national anthem. The promotion of this message of just do anything. If it feels good or it's crazy, we're going to get to it. We can go right now. The commercial was out, and it's, are your dreams crazy enough? Make them crazier. This is the messaging being pumped to young people, and I just think it's a mistake.
Well, I'm going to take a little bit of a different stance, and I'll say this just. I think a little bit you're being hypocritical, because when you say this billion-dollar industry that is Nike, you take the NFL and you always say they got a right to tell the players to stand. So which one is it? Do you want Nike not to be able to say this is who we want to be our brand ambassador, or do you want the NFL to be able to say?
I'm not complaining
about. But I'm just saying is you can't have it both ways.
I'm not complaining about Nike's choice of brand ambassadors. I'm complaining about the message. Now, as it relates to the NFL, everybody has a job where they have to respect the rules of their bosses. And again, when you sign up for a television show, again, I'm capable of talking about history and this and that, but Rupert Murdoch, Eric Shanks, they want me to talk about sports on this show. I just can't do anything just because I want to on my job.
Well, Nike's job, they chose him as a brand ambassador. Why should that be an issue for anybody? That's who they chose. They have a right to choose who they want to be the ambassador. And so I'm saying, we look at this thing, we make it a double-edged sword, because in the NFL we say you got to do what the owners say, but then when Nike comes out and says we want this guy to represent us and be our brand, then we turn it on them like, why would you have this guy to come? We can't have it both ways.
Not the debate I'm having, but I want to stay right there because you transitioned to the other layer of this conversation I want to get to. Here's an excerpt from the actual commercial that Nike's done with Kaepernick.
If you're a girl from Compton, don't just become a tennis player. Become the greatest athlete ever. Yeah, that's more like it. Don't become the best basketball player on the planet. Be bigger than basketball. Believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything.
One, I don't think Kaepernick sacrificed much, but I don't even want to have that discussion right now. My point, back to These guys, and just, I'm not saying this to disparage, but I just want it for context. Both of you all have had a relationship with Nike. I Greg and Brian, I think you've had a relationship with Adidas.
Yeah, I got a carrot cake.
Yeah.
I'm not happy about it.
But I'm just uncomfortable, and again, you may call me a hypocrite, and maybe I'm being hypocritical. Nike, these guys are just puppets for Nike, and they're allowing Nike to use them to promote a message that I don't think is best for our young people.
You can call it puppets, but I disagree. It's a two-way relationship. Colin Kaepernick, LeBron James, Serena Williams, all these great athletes are also standing on Nike's platform as well. Nike is using their platform, and you better believe they're using Nike's platform to promote their brand, their message, all of that. When you look at this and it says believe in something, or even if it means sacrifices everything, it's left to the viewers, the consumers' own interpretation.
I know.
Whatever you
Make it
desire,
up. Yeah,
whatever you desire, if you strongly believe in it enough, be willing to deal with whatever comes with that. It's not a matter of, is this do I have to agree with it? Is Nike doing the right thing? They're doing what, like you said, what they want to do to make sure that they understand, or they're sending the message to their, not only the general public, but their athletes, that we're supporting you. You are with us, we have been with you, and we are in full support of you and what you stand for.
And it shows how the athletes they have supported when they stood behind Tiger Woods. They stood behind Kobe Bryant. I mean, they stand.
Joe Paterno.
Yes.
Joe Paterno.
Well, like I said athletes. And you know what I like this, I think they love this the most is because finally, someone is bullying the national football. As players, we can respect that.
I shouldn't have had you two together.
Because they're getting what they deserve. They're like, hey.
Whole life transformed by football, and y'all love to see, these two love to see the NFL beat up.
I love my sport. We love each other as players.
Right.
We don't fall for the false narrative that they put out, we are family. We're family.
Exactly.
We're family.
Right. Exactly.
We're not their family because the way they treat the players, that's why finally someone is big enough to say, hey, we're doing it like this. But
how did you two get on?
I'm coming to your side a little bit, Jason, on this issue. Football is being attacked, and so we must understand that. But here's the thing for me. As a former player, if you would have told me as a young kid growing up in the inner city with no way out, couldn't play basketball, couldn't rap, wasn't the smartest person in the world, but I could play football. You gave me a great opportunity. But all I'm saying is, why hide the concussion issues? Why hide the injury issues? No, all I'm saying is, tell me that, okay, it's a chance you're going to get hurt and let me make that decision.
You didn't know that.
Well, they hid the statistics.
You didn't know.
No. I knew it as I was grown in 7, 8 years of my career, but they hid statistics to say that your life is short in 10 years. I would have played anyway. I was a poor kid with no chance out, to your point of like how many black athletes has made millionaires. So I'm grateful for it. I just wish the owners would be straighter and more straightforward and not try to push a false narrative.
And so,
and I'd be behind the NFL like nothing you've ever
like
seen.
baseball and basketball.
I'm not asking to forgive and forget. I don't want to sound that Pollyannish or that weak or whatever, but I do want to just, we are 2 days before the start of the NFL season, and Nike and Colin Kaepernick have come in and hijacked the conversation and created more polarization and more animus around the game of football. And this again, where I just say, are these athletes, do they really understand how they're being used and manipulated? Now, at this point, Kaepernick doesn't care because he hates the NFL and he's suing. I'm just talking about the rest of the football players, the current working football players. Can they not understand the things that are going on are not in the best long-term interest of a game where we have made a lot of money?
See, and I disagree. I don't think that they're being manipulated. Most of these guys are continuing to educate themselves on the social issues that are going on every single day around us all. And so when I look at Colin Kaepernick and I look at what he's been able to do, he has educated himself. He has surrounded himself with people who are continuing to educate him. So when I look at guys who are playing in the NFL is not going to stay with them forever. Like, once you are out, you are out. If the NFL was so supportive, which I'm with you. I love the NFL for what it provided for me and what it continues to provide. 5 years after you're done, what are they doing? What are they doing?
Okay, but again, this is an issue I talk about amongst my friends, former college football players, guys that my best friends all the time. It can't be once I've left the institution, I don't care how it operates or what it does after I'm gone. It can't just be that. There has to be some concern about, am I leaving the institution that's been good to me in a better position? Am I helping the institution that helped me grow and develop so that the next Greg Jennings, Brian Cox, Eric Dickerson has a better experience? It's got to be about some of that. It can't just be, I'm done and so screw the NFL.
What you're saying is kind of right, but in a sense, the guys that have made the National Football League, the Jim Browns, the Gale Sayers, the guys way before.
Eric Dickersons.
The guys even before me. The guys even before me. They take those guys and they push you to the side. You're like, you're done.
They push Jim Brown to the side.
Like I said, yes. If you talk to Jim, yes, they push you to the side. They almost want you to go away and die. Like, don't come back. That's why the problem comes in. We don't it's like the founders would say Apple. When you're a founder, you're always taken care of. You're one of the guys that started to make this company great. We have made the National Football League great. And they made us great too, along. But you know what? Bring us along with the ride. Don't you be here and we're down here.
Eric, the Los Angeles Rams have a great relationship with you.
Now.
After he got the coach fired.
Now they do. I could go back.
Eric, let me give you one more point. Let me give you one more point. And you, everybody. Again,
I want to hit
the
on
National Football League is one of the reasons why y'all sitting here right now collecting a check.
Absolutely.
Agree.
I agree with that. I don't disagree with that.
But we're not football. We're not getting paid by the NFL. We're getting paid by Fox.
That we go.
Fox's relationship with the NFL is why you're here. It's all connected.
Let me touch on one thing.
Please, quickly, we got to go.
Nike has started a conversation with they're bringing white people to the table because now you see white people burning up shoes and stuff that they purchased because they're mad over Colin Kaepernick. It pushes the conversation further where we're getting away from the protests and we're starting to talk about real issues.
Burning shoes.
The
real
well,
issues.
I'm saying they burn the shoes because they're that upset. Like I say, you can't straddle the fist on this topic. You got to be on one side or the other. But the conversation
we don't need more polarization.
The conversation is burning
more
on.
comments.
The conversation is burning on now.
On Thursday night, football will make its long-anticipated return to living rooms across America. That means bragging rights and huge cash prizes are up for grabs at DraftKings.com, the leader in one-week fantasy sports. For the season opener, DraftKings is hosting a fantasy football contest that is $10 to enter and has a $1 million top prize. But for a limited time only, if you sign up with the code SFYS today, DraftKings will give you a free entry with your first deposit. Single Game Showdown is the newest way to play. All you have to do is draft 6 players from Thursday's game, stay under the salary cap, and see how your team stacks up against the competition. Put your football knowledge to work, and you could win $1 million while watching the season opener. The top prize is $1 million, but you don't have to come in first to be a winner. There are $2.5 million in total prizes, which means thousands of winners. So download the app or go to DraftKings.com now and use the promo code SFYS to sign up and make your first deposit. When you do, DraftKings will give you a free shot at $1 million this Thursday. That's code SFYS at DraftKings. Minimum $5 deposit. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details. All right, welcome back. Greg Jennings, Eric Dickerson, and Brian Cox are back. Let's move to Seattle, where Earl Thomas has ended his holdout and will report to Seahawks camp despite not getting the new contract or trade out of town he was seeking. Meanwhile, Le'Veon Bell's holdout continues despite a guarantee from teammate Marquise Pouncey that Bell would show up at camp today. Gentlemen, I hate to say this with Eric Dickerson here, the king of the holdout.
What are you talking about?
Le'Veon Bell, you're Le'Veon Bell's idol. He got it all. Le'Veon's making the right move here. I think Earl Thomas has made a mistake by ending this holdout. The only way to get the money is to hold out and or force a trade. I think Le'Veon's going to play this to the bust, and I think it's the right move.
I disagree, and here's why I disagree. You've held out, and you've lessened your chances of getting injured during the preseason. Now the money's on the line. Your teammates need you. The organization's counting on you, and you don't show up. To me, here's what Earl Thomas tweeted out that's different from Le'Veon Bell, why I respect Earl Thomas a little bit. He said, "I've never let my teammates, my city of fans down as long as I've lived, and I don't plan on starting this weekend." So that means he's showing up for his team, his organization, his city. Le'Veon Bell is in the same situation. He's probably the best back in the league. Don't dispute that. But now the money's on the line. We need you to show up and get with it. He's holding out. He's lessening the risk of injury. There's nothing else to hold out for. You know Pittsburgh's not signing you at the end of the year. You got to go get that money.
I disagree with you, Jason, and my disagreement is a little different. I think I respect what Le'Veon Bell is doing, and I think both of them for holding out, understandably so. You want to get a new deal. You feel like you're deserving of that. But now when you have worked so hard, as Earl Thomas stated in his tweet, your biggest attribute, your showcase is this platform. So in this league, sometimes you can easily be forgotten because guys stepping into a role and performing well. I'm not saying that they're going to forget him, but it's almost like he will have to reprove. Can you still do what you did that we know that you're capable of doing, but we need to see it now? And for Earl Thomas, I think he's being smart about it, saying, you know what, I held out, I made my point, I will continue to make my point. But now that I'm in here, I want to let it be clearly noted, I'm in here because of my guys, my teammate. It's not, I'm going to tell you even, it ain't got nothing to do with the organization, it ain't got to do with the fans, it has everything to do with his relationship with the
teammates
guys.
ever pay your bills?
I wish they would have. You know what, I kind of agree with all of you. One thing is that when I think of Earl Thomas, pretty much that Seahawks team is gone, what he knew. You know, right. Bennett is gone, Sherman is gone, Chandler's gone. So, you know, like you said, he went in for his teammates and also possibly, I'll play my deal out and I'll get out of here. You know, I'll be 30 years old, but I still think he can play. And I think he wants to go back to Texas, play in Dallas. You know, he made a pitch to Garrett. Right. You know, he's from Texas. I can finish out my career in Dallas. With Le'Veon Bell wants to be paid like a quarterback and a receiver and a running back. I love Le'Veon. That doesn't make sense to me. That's like me saying, you know, I'm a great blocker all the time, so I only played like a great blocker and a runner.
And a runner.
And a runner.
And we know you wasn't blocking.
I know I wasn't blocking nobody. You know? But
as many holdouts as you had,
can I finish?
You gonna question Le'Veon Bell? Go ahead.
Can I finish? Go ahead. Le'Veon has to do what's best for Le'Veon, and I always believe that. You never count a guy's money. You do what's best for you. And I always believe that. I think that Le'Veon is doing what he thinks. Will he be back at the Steelers next year?
No.
Probably not.
No.
So and he's taking the hits off his body. Look, I'm gonna stay healthy. I'm gonna play, do what I have to do.
That's the point, Brian.
And that's a great point.
He can get 300 carries and 80, 90 receptions and be less valuable at the end of the season.
That's a great point. But if I'm another team, am I willing to pay him? Because he seems like, to me, for the second year in a row, he's the guy that if you pay a lot of money, he's going to ease up. He's going to take his time. He's going to do it the way he wants to do it. And secondly, if I'm a teammate on Pittsburgh, I'm saying, man, we got the money on the table now. It's time to go to work. Where are you? If you can't show up now, how can I trust you when things get hard?
See, no, I don't think the teammates are saying, as a teammate, you're supportive of your guy because you understand we all want to get paid. I want you to get paid. You gonna want me to get paid.
But you also know that when the real game starts, it's like, okay, you made your point. Let's go to work.
You may feel like that, but you will never say that to your teammate because you know why he's.
Ben said we can win with Connor.
Yeah, that's what Ben is going to project
right.
all of that because he is the leader of that team. He knows that I need Le'Veon Bell. I want him to be here, but I got to induce promote some type of life and belief in these young guys too.
Okay, now let's dissect this for a second. Okay, so when we talk Pittsburgh, we talk the big three. We talk Ben, we talk Antonio Brown, and we talk Le'Veon. They paid Ben and they paid Brown. Why won't they pay Le'Veon? It's some sort of defect there that they don't want to pay this guy.
Suspensions and the off-field issues.
It's some defects.
But Brian, I just think, and I say this really respectfully, this is why coaches loved you, man, because you were all about the team.
Right.
A lot of guys.
What about me?
No.
You
about the
you
money.
about me.
What about me? What about me?
The money, then the team.
You can respect both.
I can respect both. All I wanted was $1 million.
Did you share the cake after you ran for 2,000
Man,
yards?
please, Adidas gave me that carrot cake. I'm still mad about it.
All right, welcome back. Greg Jennings, Eric Dickerson, and Brian Cox are back. Let's move to Pittsburgh, where the season hasn't even started yet, and things are already getting uncomfortable for Steelers coach Mike Tomlin, with our own Terry Bradshaw calling out the coach for, well, just about everything.
I'm sorry, but he's not my kind of coach, and I've said it before. I'll say it again. Mike Tomlin is winning football games, but at the same time, Super Bowls are just disappearing, and that's my criticism is how can you have this great offense and you being a defensive guy, and why, and I think that football team should have been in another Super Bowl or two. How could they not be?
All right, I would summarize Terry's point as Mike Tomlin's underachieved. I think Terry, I'm not going to second guess. He has a right to his opinion. I think it's a fair criticism to say, I think with Big Ben, Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, that Steelers organization, how supportive they are, they should have another Super Bowl under Mike Tomlin. I think it's a fair criticism to say he's underperformed. You say not my coach or my kind of coach, a little harsh, but underperformed I'm good with.
I don't agree. You look at his record. He's won 16-60. He's 5-2 in the playoffs. We'll look at 2006 when he won the Super Bowl. Sean Payton, Mike McCarthy, Coughlin, John Harbaugh, Pete Carroll, Belichick twice, Kubiak once, Peterson once. Ain't nobody bringing criticism or heat to Payton, McCarthy, Coughlin, Harbaugh, any of those guys. To me, the guys won. The defense has been bad. The offense was good. They rectified the defense last year trying to compete with New England. The years before, they were playing on the old Pittsburgh 3-4 defense that they had for 25 years, and people caught up to him. And he didn't do much to change it. He's a rah-rah coach. He's a young coach. He's a coach that deals with the millennials, and he can pat them on the back, pat them on the butt. There are no hard-ass coaches in this game anymore besides maybe Belichick, and he's not hard-ass as people say. I mean, when you're at work, you're working, but when it's over, it's over. So to me, I don't think the criticism is fair. Pittsburgh understands, as an organization, only having 3 head coaches in the history. And they stay there a long time. So to me, he has a Super Bowl under his belt. I'm okay with what he's done.
Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and say he's underachieved, but I think if you were to ask Mike Tomlin, if he sat right here, he would say, yeah, I believe I've underachieved because I haven't won consecutively. But when you look at why they haven't won, it hasn't been because of Mike Tomlin. You're playing the LeBron James of football.
That's
no,
strong.
no, you're playing.
They play undisciplined in a lot of these big games.
But that you can't always. No, you cannot always put that on the coach. These are grown men. You have accountable leaders in that locker room who have been there when you did win, when he did win. So they know how to play together, and they know how to be disciplined. They know what it looks like. They've done it. They just have chosen to now do it their way. And so he's evolved, and I think that's what makes him a unique coach is because he continues to evolve. And like I said, to my point, you're playing the Tom Brady and Belichick every year. That is your hurdle. So if even last year, when you look at their stumble against Jacksonville, they were looking forward past Jacksonville to New England already.
Yes.
Who's that on?
That's the coach.
That was on him. Yeah. But my point is the New England Patriots have dominated that conference to where they have everyone trying to do what they do. And they have set a new barometer of this is who we have to be.
I'm coming back to you, but I want to get Eric in there. I got to follow up.
Just what you just said about them looking past Jacksonville, looking for New England. I don't think that's even on the coach. That's on the players. Because as a player, you know what's in front of you. You played this game.
Coach sets a tone.
Can I finish my?
Thank you. Got to respect your hall.
Thank you. You play long, and you did make a great point. He's had to play Belichick. I mean, that is the stumbling block. And you know what? He's a player's coach. He's not that old school guy like, look, you don't need no water. He's not that kind of coach. He's a coach that the players really love to play for. David DeCastro loves him. I think all the guys love him. But I think when you think about You know how hard it is to win a Super Bowl? It's hard to win a Super Bowl. He's got a Super Bowl. He's played in 2 Super Bowls.
Like a lot
it's
of
hard,
excuses.
but it's not an excuse.
Oh, he's competing against Belichick.
No, but it's the
every
truth.
coach- every
Look at
coach
every coach
mentioned
on that has.
Every
So,
coach
hey,
you mentioned.
you said about Mike McCarthy. You said about Sean Payton.
You just reminded me of why I wanted to go back to Greg. Terry Bradshaw's talking about his team. And again, that brings out a passion and a level of intimate knowledge that fuels your criticism. Green Bay Packers, Mike McCarthy. If someone said Mike McCarthy underachieved, agree or disagree?
I agree. But Mike McCarthy would agree as well because that's the type of coach he is, and the expectations are high. No different than Mike Tomlin. But everybody can't. To your point, you listed off all these coaches. Our expectation is for one of these coaches to win every single year. It's impossible.
That's not gonna happen.
Somebody has to lose.
He's got Big Ben and an organization behind him, and y'all making a lot of excuses. Look, it's like if I accept excuses, I'd still be a virgin.
Well, maybe you are. Maybe you are.
No,
You're not.
There's better looking guys pursuing every woman I ever dated. I don't accept excuses. I go get it. That's what Mike Tomlin needs to do. All right, to Philadelphia, where the NFL season kicks off tomorrow night with the Super Bowl champion Eagles hosting the Falcons. Nick Foles will get the start, but the Super Bowl MVP has looked pretty shaky this preseason. As always, Foles tried to put a positive spin on his struggles.
I went out there and played. I made mistakes. I did good things, but all in all, I felt like I grew as a player, and that's important, especially going through the preseason. I wasn't afraid to, I wasn't trying to play it safe. I wanted to just play football, and with that, you're gonna make mistakes sometimes. Obviously, making mistakes isn't fun. It's it's the worst part of the game, but you're able to sit back, you're able to go watch film, you're able to deal with the emotions of throwing a pick, having a strip sack, doing all those different things, which aren't fun as a player, but I was able to deal with it in the preseason, which is awesome in a sense that I can learn from it then and move forward.
Nick Foles should have retired after the Super Bowl because in his mind he did. He's done. He's shook. He's lost confidence. I don't have any confidence in him, and neither should the Eagles.
Well, I think they should have confidence in him based on what he did last season. But here's the issue. When you win a Super Bowl, there is such a thing as the hangover. The book tours that he and Doug Peterson have been on, I've been on a Super Bowl team. When you come back, somehow you feel like you're the reason why you won the Super Bowl, and you don't work as much, you don't play as a team. So it takes you 5 or 6 weeks to get yourself back under regular season games because you think, I'm the reason we won.
I think they should be confident. I'm not as confident because I've seen Nick Foles in this position as a starting quarterback week 1, day 1, going into the NFL season, and he hasn't proven to do what he did last year coming off the bench, being inserted in a role that was a lot less stressful and heavy, if you will. So I'm not as confident, but they have every reason to believe in him.
They played this is preseason he played. He didn't play great in the preseason, but you know what he did? He beat Tom Brady last year. Nobody thought he'd beat Tom Brady. Nick Foles is what Nick Foles is. He's a backup quarterback. When Carson Wentz returns, he'll go back to that position. So for right now, you deal with and he won the Super Bowl. I mean, it was last year, but still, he won it.
Yes.
Listen, I agree. I thought the run he went on at the end of last year, terrific. But to me, I've seen the dude hang a mission accomplished sign over his career. He's done. Because if it wasn't, he would have went out and got him a starter's job and demanded starter's money somewhere. But he's just done. He doesn't want the responsibility of being a starter. That's why it was a nice little run, but he's going to go back to being the guy that shook, doesn't have a lot of confidence. I don't think they can really win with him as the starting quarterback moving forward because in his mind, what more can I do? I was Super Bowl MVP. I won a Super Bowl. I'm done.
But I think that's where he's most confident, knowing that it's not all on me. I am not the guy. I may be the guy for the first few weeks, but we have a guy that I'm just being inserted in for, and I don't have to bear this load myself. I think that's what gives him the confidence.
All right, welcome back. Greg Jennings and Brian Cox are back. We're joined now by the founder of the Big Lead, Jason McIntyre. Let's move to New England, where Tom Brady is gearing up for week 1 after a very un-Brady-like offseason full of distractions. But Brady just dropped the final episode of his Facebook series, Tom vs. Time, and the reigning MVP still insists that he plans to play until he's 45.
I would love to play 5 more years. I'd love to play 41, 42, 43, 44, 45. It'll be a challenge for me. I don't think it's going to be easy. It's going to be hard to do. I think it's going to be very hard to do. But I think I can do it.
And once you stop, you're done. And I think I'm not ready to say that I'm done because I don't feel like I am. I still feel there's things to accomplish.
Yeah, it sounds to me, he sounds confident about making it to age 45. And that, to me, says that Bill Belichick is the guy that will be leaving Foxborough. Tom will be there after Bill Belichick is gone and Josh McDaniels is the head coach. But, yeah, I still think he wants to play and perhaps will play until he's 45.
No, not realistic. I was teammates with Dan Marino, and when Dan got old, one of the things he said is, I could throw the ball with anybody in this league, but it hurts when I get hit. As he gets older, those bones are going to start cracking, and he's going to be like, the hell with this, I'm out.
But Brian, Dan Marino was a guy that could barely jog around the field.
Tom's not much better.
Oh!
Tom's not much better.
He ain't.
Tom can't scramble. He's a pocket passer, just as Dan was.
Torn Achilles for Dan.
Torn knee.
A lot different work ethic as far as preparation going into the season.
I played with both of the guys. Neither one of them can move.
Right. No one's disputing that part.
So that means you're going to get hit.
But
and when you have to get up off the ground, that's what I'm saying the issue is. It's not that who's a better athlete. I'm not saying that. I'm saying Dan's issue was each time I got hit, it got harder to get up.
That's a hell of a statement. You played with Brady and Marino.
That is.
That
is. I think he still does want to play, but I think there's some pieces that pull on him more than just Giselle, those kids, the family, what we didn't see, and what he is like present for and has been more. When a kid is growing up, when your kids start to grow up,
you don't want to miss that.
You don't want to miss
game.
that. And they're starting to have more opinion, be more strongly voiced about things. That's going to pull on them a lot more. And I think walking out of that house when your son or your daughter saying, Daddy, you got to go again, that's going to weigh on him.
Gets hard.
I think that is what will pull him out before he gets to 40.
I'm with you, Greg. I have young kids just like you do. And, when they were 1 and 2 years old, it's not as exciting as it is now going to their sporting events, knowing their friends. But an added layer to this, guys, is when you look at the Jimmy Garoppolo situation, okay? Last year, Brady, very vociferous. I'm playing till I'm 45. I'm not going anywhere. They moved Jimmy Garoppolo. He has now Kraft in his corner, so when you're watching this Facebook Live, Brady's just matter of fact about it. Oh, there's no pressure. I'll play till 43, 44, 45. Very casual because he's not looking over his shoulder at the guy who's about to take his spot. So I definitely think Tom Brady will be playing till 45.
I don't think he was looking over his shoulder anyway. It continues to amaze me that people outside of the building in New England thinks that Kraft plays a part. Bill Parcells taught him early on, owners own, sit up there and have a couple drinks and eat cheese dogs, and I run the team. Anything that happens in New England goes through Bill Belichick. You know what? Bill Belichick doesn't even live in Boston during the offseason. He lives in Jupiter, and he remote controls everything. He runs everything in that building. I will continue to tell you guys that. I am of like-minded thought process that when Brady steps away, Belichick becomes the personnel guy and goes to Jupiter, and Josh McDaniel become head
Brian,
coach.
I'm going to push back. When I think when you played there, coached under Belichick, I buy that Robert Kraft stayed out of things. But when there's a dispute between Brady and Belichick, he's the only guy that can arbitrate.
He does not get involved.
That's
Robert Kraft goes and asks Bill Belichick, what do you think? What do you want to do? And Bill explains it. This is what I'm doing. If Robert Kraft bothered Bill Belichick and there was an issue in that building where they couldn't get along, Bill Belichick would be the head coach of the New York Giants right now. Period.
As much as I love you and I think you have some great insight, it's hard for me to swallow that pill.
I'm just telling you, I was there.
Well, here's Brian, let me push back a little. The big difference is with everybody else, yes, Bill Belichick calls the shots. But with Tom Brady, the most popular athlete in New England, Kraft was not going to let him go. I had multiple writers from Boston on my radio show, and they talked about it and said, listen, Kraft was Brady's guy. He was not going to trade Tom Brady.
It was never a thought that he was going to trade Tom Brady. That's just like the Drew Bledsoe saga. Drew Bledsoe was this guy. That was like his son. And then Tom Brady appeared. To me, the big issue or the big things in this whole thing is Garoppolo was collateral damage. He had to go. He would have became a free agent. They would have got nothing for him. At the trading deadline, that's your last opportunity to dump him, or you get zero for him. That's what people don't talk about and don't understand. It wasn't about, this guy's going to take Brady's place. It's if we don't do something with this guy now, when the season's over, he's a free agent. We get nothing for him. So they dumped him and got what they could get for him at the trade deadline. Simple.
They could have gotten more.
Way more.
At the trade deadline, who's going to trade him?
I'm very rarely speechless, but when somebody says, I played with Marino and Brady, I gotta bow to your insight. Blind squirrel, you're right once a month. All right, welcome back. Greg Jennings here for Last Call. Let's move to Dallas, where Jerry Jones says he has tremendous respect for Nike, despite the shoe company's new ad campaign featuring Colin Kaepernick. All right, Greg, you buying this?
I am buying it because he has a relationship with Phil Knight. Like, Jerry's a businessman.
He's the biggest complainer about the national anthem controversy, and you really buy that he has no problem with Nike over this?
If you're putting money in Jerry Jones' pocket, he has no problem with you. He has a relationship with Nike. Nike is putting money in his. I have no qualms. You do what you want to do. Just make sure that check is cut.
Got you. All right, to golf. Put this in here, Greg, just for you. Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson have been named captain's picks for the U.S. Ryder Cup team, which had Phil feeling very patriotic on Twitter. Greg, do you think these picks are about golf or TV ratings?
I think they're about both, but more about golf. I'm sorry, TV ratings.
Oh, okay.
When it comes as far as golf, Phil has not played well at all as of late. And Tiger Woods, any opponent that he's played with, he's elevated their level of play, and he is to some degree folded. So I would question, why would you pair Tiger with some of these up-and-coming guys that are...
The Ryder Cup's never been Tiger Woods' thing.
It's never been his thing.
And look, I think Furyk in a tough position because if he doesn't take Tiger, and maybe even if he doesn't take Phil, there's some backlash, fan backlash, those guys being upset Tiger wants to play in the Ryder Cup. But to me, this is about TV and TV ratings and what will make the best television show. And if these two guys weren't in it, I think ratings would be hurt.
I agree with that. And when you look at Phil, I think he's better suited, honestly, because last Ryder Cup, he matched up with Sergio Garcia. Sergio isn't a long ball hitter, so he doesn't pose a huge threat to Phil. I mean, he can play well against guys like that.
All right, we'll see you tomorrow.